players like Tayshaun and Rip and Chauncey. And
Dallas was packed, bro. Dallas was packed.
yeah, we got to get back to that at some point. I feel like that's always got to be Detroit's identity. We need to again go for like these skill players that are just dogs on defense. Like that's always been Detroit's identity when like they win. Just this defensive minded, hard nosed
Yeah.
team.
And I think one of the things about that team is that like people don't understand like that team was loaded.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Not even out of your starters, you had a bench that was just
Oh yeah, Lindsey Hunter
nice.
was pretty good. Like that. I'm trying to think who else we had coming off the bench. But
Mamet Okor,
Okor, yep.
what was it? Eldon Campbell,
Oh
Antonio
yeah, man.
McDyess.
McDyess was there. We had the
Uh,
star-studded rookie Darko Milicic, man. We were
Milwaukee, but let's get into this AFC North stuff, though.
Hell yeah, let's do it, man. I don't know. Let's start in Pittsburgh because I think that's like the most intriguing to me. With like
For
all the
sure.
pieces, that like kind of came in and left, and then like with the draft. I mean, yeah, they lost Bud, which is huge. They lost Mike Hilton,
Huge.
and they lost some offensive linemen. And
They lost in Nova.
yep,
They lost.
Feeler, yeah,
Was a
Matt Failer,
Feeler.
yep.
Like those
So
are some big losses, especially you think about how old Ben is,
hmm
and
definitely.
and he's gonna need time.
Mm.
Um, and then just even the fact that like they really didn't have that much of a running game last year. Now I know I think them drafting Najee Harris is an upgrade from James Conner.
That's huge.
Um, so I think that's a big upgrade, but still, like regardless of the running back you have, or quarterback you have, you still need a line to make things happen. So
Yeah, I can't see it being worse because they had the worst rushing attack in the league last year, right? So it's weird. Like, but they
right,
lost two O linemen, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. And they didn't decide to address that in the draft, which is kind of weird. They took
they didn't. They
that
picked up
tight end.
yeah, they picked up the tight end who's a really good blocker, and
Yeah.
then they picked up what is it, Joe Hag.
Yep. You're right.
They picked him up as a guard, so hopefully that'll help. And then just having an upgrade at running back with Najee Harris, I think is going to be a huge upgrade for them, especially the fact that he
Definitely.
can catch the ball out of the backfield. And
Hmm.
I mean, just getting Juju back is, I think, is a thing for that they needed to do as well, right? Like I think you lose him, even though what was the Claypool? Even though he kind of came on this year and played really well, you still need Juju there. Like he still
Yeah.
is kind of part of that receiving core that makes them really dynamic.
They do have a good receiving core with, like you're saying, Claypool, and then I forget the other guy's name, but there was another one there too who was pretty
Yeah, I'm
decent. They
drawing a
had,
blank. Let me see if I can
yeah,
pull up the roster real quick.
fuck, I forget his name, but he was pretty solid. They had that good. What's funny is Juju really didn't even play that well last year, so it'll be interesting to see if he can have a bounce back year.
Yeah.
I don't know though, to be honest with you, man. Like they looked so good last year. I think they started 11-0, and they kind of fell off the map. But I don't know if I even see them winning 10 games at all this year, man. I'd probably put their over under at like
Bro, why are
9.
we are the same. I put 10 and I literally put at best. I
Hmm.
don't I don't see it I don't see it happening. It was Deontay Johnson.
Yep.
It was the other receiver.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
But
receiving core is good. I like Najee Harris. That's a good pickup. It'll just be interesting to see what happens to that O line and how Big Ben holds up.
they got to make it work. But I think the thing that's going to hold them down, that has continued to hold them down, is that defense, right? Like that
Always.
defense
Yeah.
is going to be solid. They got Devin Bush coming back. Um, Watt is huge. They picked up Arthur Mullet, cornerback, so they addressed some of their secondary needs. So the defense, I think, is going to be solid. Like defense is always pretty solid under Mike Tomlin. It's just about what the offense is going to do.
Most definitely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that running attack. Like he's a really good player. That's the first time they've drafted a running back that high since like I was looking it up since like Rashard Mendenhall, and that was like over 12 years ago. Like they have not really
Yeah,
prioritized running backs like that. And then the tight end is good, Fairmouth. I think he's probably the second best tight end out of that draft. So they've got like skilled position weapons. It'll just depend on if they can protect.
yeah.
So.
Do they still have Ebron?
Mm-hmm. They do.
So they got the pass catcher. I mean, we'll see, but I don't think it's going to be.
I don't either.
I don't think they're going to be able to get away with those short passes like they were this year. They're gonna have to find a way to get it down the field.
Definitely, yeah. It seems like that kind of got exposed in that home stretch too. Because like I said, I think they started 11-0, and then didn't they lose like 4 of their last, or like their last 5 games, or their last 4 games they lost, including that playoff game. Like
I mean you start out 11-0 and then you finish 12-4.
Yeah, exactly. And then lost that. They got destroyed by the Browns. Like that was.
I mean, let's say that they started to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Had they not really shot themselves in the foot to start that game, I think that game would have been a little bit more competitive.
For sure.
I mean, they did start to come back, so we'll see. But something with the offense has to change.
It does, for sure. I think it's Big Ben, honestly. I mean, obviously the O-line, but like Big Ben's just getting old,
Yeah, I think for me, it's the O-line. Because if that O-line's not going to protect him, he's not going to be able to do anything, and that running game's not going to do it. So for me, it's all about the O-line for them. Like if they can find a win there, then they'll be better than what I think you and I are projecting them to be. So yeah,
I agree. Do you think Big Ben's like a all-time quarterback?
Like an all-time great?
Yeah.
I put him maybe like a second tier.
Yeah, that's kind of I'm agree with you.
Where he was a good quarterback, but I don't think I can put him in like that historic.
I agree with you. I think they won his rookie year, and then he won that one against Arizona, so he has 2 rings. But yeah, he never. I didn't like that he was just like It's like he knew how big he was, and he's like, I'm not going to avoid tackles. I'm just going to sit there and just take the punishment. It was like,
right.
I don't know, man. That's not a good way to keep your body up in this sport.
Right.
But,
yeah. So, we'll see. But I got 10 wins.
Yeah, I agree. Like maybe a wild card team, but I don't see them making a bunch of noise. What about Cincinnati? Because they're also very intriguing. Like
they are intriguing. They have some really. I think they made some really nice moves. I really do. Like
I do too.
They picked up your boy from New Orleans. They picked up Hendrickson. I think it's good.
That's huge, man.
It is. I mean, what did he get, like 13 sacks last year?
Yeah, he was killing like 13 and a half. And they really boosted their secondary. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, Eli Apple's a little older, but they picked him up. They picked up Tony Brown. He was at Alabama a couple years ago. He's all right. Like they focused a lot on their secondary and their defense as a whole.
Who they also pick up? Hilton. Did you mention him? Yep. And then Awazi, they picked him up. And then you picked up, just the old line they picked up Riley Reef.
Yep, that's huge.
He's really huge. And then you picked Jamar Chase up as a receiver. And so, you connected him back up with Joe Burrow. But I think they do. I think them losing like Carl Lawson and losing Bernard, I think he's just an experienced running back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, granted, I know AJ Green is not the player that he used to be. But that doesn't. I think he's still. I think he can still produce and help kind of with the maturation of Jamar Chase. So yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think. It's interesting on both sides because their D was so bad last year. Their whole team was, but I think offensively they got some promise. Being that Burrow's coming back, I really like Burrow. Like you said, obviously Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is a really good receiver, so that's a good pairing of those two.
It is.
We'll see. They sent. I think their second round pick was an offensive tackle out of Clemson, so that's big. Yeah,
Yeah, and then they picked up an edge rusher as well. So I think they're starting to address some of their needs, but I put 6 wins.
I had 6 wins. It's my over under, which is good for them. That's pretty good for them.
It's an upgrade, right? Like you got better, right? And you're moving in the right direction.
Exactly. So as long as Burrow's looking good and they're they got that spark offensively, then it's we just build from there. I think 6 wins would be a pretty promising season.
And to get 6 wins in that division, that's the AFC North may be the toughest division in the NFL. Outside of maybe the one out west. which we'll talk about, in the coming weeks. But with Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cleveland, and the moves that they've made, like I feel like you legitimately got like 2 Super Bowl contenders in this division.
I totally agree with you, man. And then like just the defensive alone, obviously the Browns are emerging defensively, but Steelers and Ravens are always just such a powerhouse on D. It's just such like a hard-nosed division to be in. Like just those divisional games are rough. So I totally agree with you. It'll be interesting because the Bengals have to deal with that probably plays a role. Maybe if they were in a weaker division, they could shoot up a little bit more, and really look like kind of like the Miami team of last year who like went from nothing to kind of like, wow, 10 wins. How the hell did that happen?
Exactly.
But like, I don't see that in this
next
division.
year. I think they'll be out next year. I think that they could get there. I think that they can get there if they still continue to make the right moves. But I mean, like you said, 6 wins.
Yeah, that's good. That's hang your hat on that. Just keep building.
Right.
It's they've been such a lousy organization for so long. Like that's not bad. What about Baltimore?
So Baltimore is my sleeper pick to win the Super Bowl.
Ooh, that's hot. Okay.
That's my sleeper pick too.
Okay.
I just like the moves that they made. They picked up, was it Zittler for a guard. They picked up Villanueva. You pick up Sammy Watkins. You pick up Rashad Bateman. They picked up Derek Wolfe. Like, I just like the moves that they've made, and
yeah, it's it'll be really interesting to see Lamar now going from kind of how you said, like he didn't have really a number one receiver to now having Sammy Watkins, Bateman, and I almost want to think they'd run Hollywood out of like that slot position because he's so fast, So he's got a plethora of weapons on offense. I'm wondering about the running back situation. I know Ingram's gone, so I assume they're just going with Dobbins if that's just going to be like their bell cow guy. But I think defensively they picked up, what was that guy's name? Jason Mawai. He's like the Penn State linebacker. He's going to be huge for them, man.
He is. That was a hell of a pickup.
He's enormous. Like that dude, I was reading analysis on him. They're saying he's like the DK Metcalf of like linebackers. The dude is just so freakishly athletic.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
It's that'll be interesting. He's gonna bring a whole dynamic to their pass rush. How quickly he can get past the line and shoot through those gaps. So yeah, he'll add to that D, especially being that's kind of an aging D, and they've lost some linebackers the last couple of years. So he's gonna re-spark them.
Yeah, but they're losing some heavyweights. Like you're losing Judon, you're losing Ngakoue. Like they're losing some, some pretty heavy hitters. But they picked. I think they made some really good pickups. And on the offense, go ahead.
Do you think? Not to we'll go into the over-under in a minute though, but being that they're your sleeper Super Bowl pick, do you think that they're far and away better than anyone in the division, or do you think that they still are going to have tough competition with the Browns?
I think they're going to have some tough competition with the Browns just because the Browns defensively, I think can somewhat expose some of the things that we haven't seen Lamar do yet, which is be really effective with throwing the ball because they have some pass rushers.
Yeah.
But with Lamar, he can expose them as well because if you're too aggressive with Lamar and trying to pass rush him, he's going to blow by you, right? With that whole the option and stuff like that they're able to run. So but those games are going to be like crazy between Baltimore and Cleveland.
I agree. Baltimore and Pittsburgh always get up for each other, but I think this year it's Baltimore and Cleveland are going to be like the head honchos of the division. I could easily see all three of them winning 10 games, which is crazy, man. Like it's a very, that's
it's likely.
Yeah. So that'll be very interesting. I don't know. I'm going to give the Ravens 11 wins. That's where I've got them.
I put 13 to 14.
Ooh, all right. I like that. No,
I got faith in Lamar. I think now that he has weapons, already with having, the this tight, the tight end that he had, and you got Dobbins, you got Edwards, you're adding Watkins to the mix, you adding Bateman to the mix,
Yep.
like, and then you still have Hollywood, like
Pretty good offensive line.
Like the offensive line. Then you picked up some really good pieces with Villanueva, and Zittler. So like, I just think that now it's prime for him to be successful, and I don't think he's going to let us down.
That's so I would definitely say he's the X factor of the team.
Absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
It's gonna. He plays mediocre. I think if he plays mediocre, they're still like an 8-win team, 8-10-win team. So
right.
It really just depends on if he can turn it on like he did a couple seasons ago. Yeah, the sky's the limit for them. What did they win that year? Did they win 13-14 that year that
they went. Yeah, they went like 13-3 that year.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta look at it too. Like last year, like he had a bit of an off year, but they still went 11-5.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? And he didn't really have the receivers that he has now, and so I'm gonna put my faith in him. But
Yeah, Hollywood's got to produce, and I think having those other two receivers there will really help free him up. It seemed like he was that deep threat that they kind of key in on, and maybe bring a safety over the top, and like we're not letting you beat us downfield. And he didn't seem to be like that 15 yards and in receiver. He wasn't like on that level that he needs to be. So maybe that'll be good. You got these other two receivers that can take up attention, and then like he'll be running those fly routes, and maybe once or twice a game be able to burn someone deep. So.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. You're right. Like Lamar's got the tools now, so it's this is his season. Last season was definitely considered a down year. I assume he's going to be really hungry to have a bounce back year. That's a very intriguing pick.
I mean, and also if I looked at their schedule, the schedule does kind of look pretty favorable.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Do they play the NFC South this year? I thought I saw.
Let me.
Because I was looking at the Saints' schedule, and I thought I saw they played all four of them, but I might be wrong.
No, they play like the Rams, the Chiefs,
okay,
the Chargers.
Gotcha.
The Raiders, so they play all those guys.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. It's all in Lamar's hands. Yeah, that's. I like that pick though. That's definitely like I wouldn't say anyone would go off and say like they're the favorites to win, but like,
that's my sleeper pick.
Yeah, if things go on the right, they could definitely be like that dark horse pick to just catch fire, especially like on the second half of the season and like
Yeah.
Because even when I'm saying 11 wins, I could see them catching fire and being like that one of those wild card teams that just goes nuts.
Yeah. The thing is that like. The start of the season, they got the Raiders and then they got the Chiefs, right? So like they could probably start the season out 0-2, and people are going to start like counting them out. But then I think that they can just like really go for a run here.
Hey, I think that's beneficial to them, honestly. If they have 2 straight games of really good teams that just hit them in the mouth and beat it, like I mean, that's going to test their character, and like that's. I'd rather have those games kind of early like that, honestly, and like see what you're made of. And like even if you don't win either of those games, that should probably give them a little calluses, toughen them up a little bit for like what's to come. So that's a good like tune-up start to like really like
some really good matchups before they go up against like the taking knees Lions. So
I didn't know we play them this year. That'll be probably L for us, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Now, I think Cleveland is scary, bro. Like they're a team that like I never thought I'd be like, but wow, after this last season, who I'm gonna be honest, last season I thought they were kind of like fool's gold. They had like a really easy schedule. They looked good, but it was just they like I said, I didn't think they were really beating anyone of importance. And then like those last couple games of the season, and then obviously the postseason, I was like, wow, they made me eat my words, man. Like they were legit this year. And I don't think, what did they lose? I mean, they literally just gained, in my opinion. Like obviously you lose some free agents, but like the signing of Clowney is so big. They really put an emphasis on that defense, which is what they need, So it's, oh man, they're scary.
They are. I mean, I think the biggest name that you would say that they lost, maybe, Kevin Johnson as a corner, Carl Joseph. but nothing really that's gonna pop off this. Like, man, they lost a big like Clowney. You're getting Odell back. Like, we can't. I don't think you can overstate the fact that he's coming. He's coming back, right?
Yep.
Like, so that they picked up Takaris McKinley, who I think can really kind of make some noise as a defensive end. Like, they picked up Greg Newsome in a draft as a corner.
He's gonna be big, for that secondary.
He's gonna be nice. So like,
they picked up a linebacker from Notre Dame. I forgot that.
Oh yeah.
So it's, man, like I don't know. I don't want to like say they're like a top 5 team, but like I'd say they're right behind that, somewhere between 5 and 10. Like they're right in there, and the team that could easily give the Chiefs a run for their money in that playoff game, man. Like,
for sure.
And they have such a good strategy. I think they have the best O-line in football. I think they have. I don't know if Kareem Hunt's coming back, but Nick Chubb is a stud, bro. Like, that dude is just falling forward, so agile. Yeah, if Baker Mayfield can take another step forward, that like they're going to be a problem. Like, it's,
for me, the X factor is the relationship on the field with Baker and Odell. If they can find a way to make it work, but then also make it fit with everybody else that they have, it's going to be lights out.
Man, yeah. I mean, they have so much, because Jarvis Landry's still there, right?
Landry's still there.
Njoku, I think. Hooper. Yeah. They brought Hooper in from Atlanta. Like, they have so much talent, bro. Is Kareem Hunt still there?
From what I've seen, I think he's still there. I don't know if he has. Let me see if he's still under contract. I mean, he's still on the roster, so
I'd assume
we'll
so.
See. But yeah, it's like,
I'm gonna give him 13 wins, bro. Like, I
put 12 to 13 myself.
Yeah, like I don't know if their defense can be like really stout and become like a top 12, top 10 defense, like, and then and they can just run the ball the way they did and control the game clock. Like, oh man, that's one of those teams where it's like, yeah, they have a ton of talent, but just that style of play is such a scary thing for opposing teams, when it's like they're gonna run the ball down our throat, man, and just control that clock, and there's really nothing we can do about it.
Right. And then it's that one time when you load up way too much and then you have a receiver go off.
Yep.
And the crazy thing is that with the receiving core, it could be anybody that can go off at any moment, right?
You're so right, bro.
We had Donovan Peoples-Jones go off for a game. So.
Yep, I totally agree.
They're gonna be sick.
So on paper, like, if you had to put money on it, do you favor them or Baltimore in a postseason game? Just like your preseason prediction.
I'm going to go with Baltimore. I just trust Lamar than I trust Baker.
Okay. See, I don't disagree with that fact. I don't know. And then part of me still has that reluctant, like, it's the Browns. I don't know. Like, maybe they had like a really good season, but I don't know. Like, they proved me wrong last year, bro. Like, it was
They did. I mean, and I think, and maybe I'm just putting a lot of trust in Lamar, because, I mean, you can't overstate how the Browns defense, like,
yeah,
dog, they are gonna cause havoc.
They really are, bro. It's having Clowney there is just enormous. I mean, he didn't have that good of a season last year in Tennessee, but like, I assume this is gonna give him new life, and it's gonna.
And the thing is, you don't even need him to have like just one of them seasons where he goes nuts. But if he gets you like 8 to 9 sacks. And pairing him up with Myles Garrett, like, come on, what?
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be crazy between those two. That's the thing. It's more about like you were just saying. I don't even know about the stats. It's just that presence. They just need to bring pressure to the quarterback and like make those offensive linemen work. It's. They're a scary team. Like, again, I'm not gonna pick them. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna pick them to be like a top 5 team. But like, if I'm any other team and that's on my schedule, it's like, this is a scary week, for us. Like, I don't know what's about to happen offensively and defensively, because like you were just saying, they have so much athletic talent on offense. So
I mean, what you stated earlier is pinpoint. Like, you wouldn't necessarily put them in the top 5, but they're definitely in that next tier of 5 teams, right?
Yep.
That 5 to 10, they're easily in there. And I wouldn't even say they're 10. I would probably even give them between 5 to 8.
Yeah,
I
I'd
would put
agree.
them in there. Like they're a really good team.
I totally
So
agree.
we'll see.
Do you think Baker can become like an elite quarterback, or do you think that's like? I mean, it's really early. I don't want to say like has the ship sailed, but like just from what you see, like out of his potential, could he be elite?
I don't know if he can be elite. I think he can get to that point to where like he's a really good quarterback. I will almost put him.
You mean like a Eli Manning or something like that?
No, I think he's better than Eli.
Already?
I would. I mean, what did you
My
take
point
the
in
Super
saying
Bowls
that
out
was
of?
that was my point in saying that is like they won the Super Bowls whenever, right? But I wouldn't consider Eli Manning ever elite. There was a period where he
No.
was really good, but like not elite.
Yeah, like I would give him more in like the like Philip Rivers type of
Okay,
like,
yeah, that's
you know
kind
what
of
I
that
mean?
same
Where
cloth.
like
Yep,
he's not elite, but he's not like I think he's
he's
better
very
than
good.
good,
I gotcha.
but he's
Yeah,
not elite, right? And I think he falls in that range.
I don't even know where I consider him right now. He had a better year this year, but like again, I still base. They had such a good run game and an easy schedule. Like I still,
Yeah.
his rookie year, he showed a lot of promise when he came in. He had a really bad year his second year. Last year, I put him on like that tier 3, like bordering into like a tier 2 quarterback. That's kind of where I'd have
Yeah,
him.
because
So
he didn't start the season off really hot, all
no,
right? Like
no,
he didn't really start the season off too hot, but he started to, started to get a feel for things, started, really trying to get a little bit more familiar with the offense. So,
yeah,
and I think now that he's just getting the stability that he needs with Stefanski. I think that's really gonna help getting another year, getting a full off season. And like I said, I think the X factor is really going to be him and Odell, and just that whole receiving core. If he can really figure out how to balance all of that with the run game, they're going to be nasty.
they will, man. I totally agree. It's it'll be very interesting because if he can get that one-on-one connection with Odell, I feel like he hasn't had a lot of time to play with Odell. I know he was injured this year, but I feel like even last year, maybe it's just because they were so bad. I just never noticed, the connection between the two of them. So they do have to sort that out. And if they do, because Odell, people forget how fucking talented Odell Beckham is,
Right,
man. Like,
right.
I don't know. So you said 12 to 13?
12 to 13.
All right, book it. I like that because I'm going 13. Man, we got like what 2 games left for most of the teams here in the NBA.
Yep. At the most 2 games. I think the last round of games is on Sunday.
Very intriguing what's going to happen between Golden State, LA, Dallas, and Portland. That's all within a game of each other. I think Portland lost last night.
Yeah. Portland lost, so I think Dallas is up like a half game on them, I believe. And then LA is a half game back. Golden State's not really in that contention. They're solidly going to be in the play-in situation because there's 3 games back. But it's going to be interesting because I believe Dallas plays today. They play the Raptors. And then I don't know. Lakers don't play today. They play tomorrow.
I want to say they have like back-to-backs to end the last
they got the Pacers on Saturday, and then they have
another the Pelicans.
They got the Pelicans.
Yep.
So and I know there was rumors talking about that they potentially may rest LeBron and AD.
Hey, I would
for this game against the Pacers, and then just let them get to like a warm-up game with the Pelicans or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like seriously, I think that's their best path, right? Like as much as we were talking about, and I totally get it, but I wasn't really thinking about the fact that like if they lose that first playing game, they still get a second one against the winner of 9 and 10, right? So I don't know. Like I just think their best path is to stay in that play-in and then play Phoenix or Utah. I think they lose if they get to that 16 and play the Clippers. If they were full strength and they hadn't been injured, and they got to figure this out throughout the season, I'd put them up against the Clippers. But like, they have no chemistry right now between AD, LeBron, and Drummond. So I think the play-in's their best option, regardless of because like we were saying, anything can happen, bro. Like Golden State could shoot them out of the gym and they lose. But then I totally just randomly thought of that today. It hadn't even been in my mind. I was like, shit. But then they get another game, right, against whoever 9-10 is. I can't see them losing to Memphis or whoever. Who's that other team?
San Antonio.
Yeah, I don't see that. Like, they could get hot, but I just don't. Golden State would scare me. Yeah, like they at any moment, Steph could go for 55. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that they would definitely prefer that matchup between Utah or the Suns compared to going up against the Clippers, even though the Clippers aren't even fully healthy because Ibaka is still out with the back, and I don't even know if they gave a timetable when he's going to return.
Interesting, yeah.
Right, which I think he is a huge factor for them, especially if they're going to go up against the Lakers and having somebody that can guard AD.
Yep.
Because you would think that Zubac is going to have to guard Drummond, so it's like who do you put Morris on them, and AD is just going to go to work.
Definitely.
Right. At least Ibaka is a little bit better of a defender and have a little bit more height on him, but yeah, they don't. I don't know if they really want that matchup quite yet.
Hey, AD's been balling like the last couple games, man. Like I was maybe prisoner of the moment. A couple weeks ago, I had like written off. I was like, bro, I'm done with AD, man. Like this dude is like never healthy, and when he is, I just don't like think he's got the dog in him. But he dropped that like 42 or whatever the other night, and I was like, all right, like that's pretty impressive, bro. Like that's
like my bad.
Yeah, seriously.
I think with a lot of players, especially for the Lakers and like the Heat, like how much time did they get off?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So they body didn't get really a chance to really recover. So I think AD was just like, bro, all right, here we go. Like, and he's not used to playing that far into the playoffs and then having to, and thinking that he was going to be able to get a normal recovery, and that didn't happen. Right. Where Brian was used to lose. Like there was a clip at the end of them winning in the bubble last year, and Brian was walking with AD, and he was like, bro, this is going to be the first game that you're going to leave and you don't get any type of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they don't get any type of treatment after that game. They're too busy celebrating.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're right.
Right after that finals win. So, AD, I think AD is just completely, had to adjust to the fact that like they played so far into the playoff run, and then they had 70 days to try to, in recovery or whatever. That really ain't that much, especially with all those games they were playing. And then you look at the season and how it was scheduled with all these back-to-backs that they had.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really blame him, but he just got to be better prepared.
Yeah, but with that being said, I'm out on the late. Like even if they come back completely healthy at the end of this week, I just think there's been no time for them to rev back up into 5-on-5 shape, let alone playoff speed basketball. I'm I'm concerned for the Lakers. I don't have any.
Me too.
Yeah, like it's
me too.
It's too bad. It's just unfortunate. It happens. It's the way this sports work. There's injuries and stuff. But do you think if it flames out this year, like this has got to be the end of people saying LeBron's the best player in the league, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I already was saying it, but I just think like.
Yeah, I think because even when they were playing earlier on in this year, like he was playing well, but
he was playing great the first 2 months. We were like,
yeah,
whoa,
he was playing,
but then
he was playing well. But it started to teeter off, and I think you can just start to see some of it kind of coming. But it's still his not elite. It's still him putting up 25 a game.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's what's funny, man. Like I was thinking that's hilarious you said that because like. Oh man, like when you think of him, like his first stint in Cleveland, just that athleticism and like how he just soar over two people and just throw like a jackhammer dunk on something. It's like, oh my god, man, like that was just a completely different human being. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So then, so who? If you're the Lakers, you're looking at that first round matchup. Who are you preferring? Let's say you get, you're in that playing situation. Where would you try to seed yourself?
I'd probably want Phoenix.
7? Okay.
I'd probably want Phoenix.
Me too.
I mean, they just don't have play. CP does, but like even he doesn't have a good history of winning in the playoffs. I just think they have no playoff experience. let alone like regardless though, with that being said, like this season is so different, you know, with the COVID and stuff like that. It's not like it's packed and sold out arenas, so everything's weird this year. I just think the Utah Jazz have such a good defense that like that's a problem you don't want to run up against. I still think they'd have a chance if LeBron and AD were 100% healthy, you know, like you'd put them up there, but Phoenix, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think just the matchup itself, right? Because you think, okay, you assume that Ayton will end up matching up with Drummond, and then you're thinking about Jay Crowder guarding AD.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not a good matchup for them at all.
I don't understand why his whole, well, I don't know about his whole career, but like since Cleveland and all, why do they keep playing Jay Crowder at the 4? Like he's a 3. I don't know why. Like he's not big enough.
He's a bigger 3 though. Like he's about like 6'8", and he's a little bit more stout. Like he's got really strong legs, and so like you can't really push him if you're in the post, right? But he, like you said, he's just not a really tall guy to where like he's really going to affect anything that AD can do. Because AD's game is not really like a post-up game.
No,
his game is, you know, getting you in that mid post and doing work there or catching lobs. And there's nothing that Jay Crowder can do.
That's what I'm saying. Like I just don't. And he's a good 3-and-D guy. He's a really good 3-point shooter, and he plays good D. But like I'd rather have him on the wing as a 3. I feel like he's a liability there at the 4. Offensively, that's interesting. Like, you know, you can have him at the 4 and have him stretch the floor, but like
right, exactly.
Defensively, I just don't like, especially like you were just saying against AD. AD's game isn't predicated on like Shaq, like brute strength, get to the paint. Right. You know, he'll hit you with like shimmy to one shoulder and, you know, like a elbow turnaround. Like that's not
exactly.
And there's nothing Crowder can do about that. So
no,
that's I don't know, but yeah, I'm really scared for the Lakers. I still want to say, as long as they're healthy, the Clippers are my favorite to go out of the West. I really like the Suns, though, man. I'm a big fan of them. I don't think they have any experience, but it'd be cool to see them, you know, make a run.
Yeah, if they get the Lakers, it's I give them. I think it can go maybe 6. You know, because LeBron and them may need a couple games to, you know, get their wind under them.
Mm-hmm.
But
definitely.
And I want to see the Suns do well because it's been such a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to I want to see Booker win, bro. Like you want to see Book deserves the respect that he hasn't really gotten yet, but I think it's because of the fact that he hasn't really played in the playoffs, and so I want to see Book do work in the playoffs.
Well, I think we were just talking about it before, bro. Like I feel like his game would be elevated if you saw him like, you know, make it to the finals. Like that'd be where he'd be like, all right, I'm putting up 50 tonight. You know what I mean? Like that'd be awesome. What do you think? We were saying that their favorable matchup, referring to the Lakers, would be Phoenix. How would they stack up against Utah?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good matchup. Like you said, defensively, Utah can cover them really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Conley and Mitchell, I believe they're supposed to be coming back for these last couple of games, if I'm not mistaken. But we've seen it where Mitchell at any point can go off, right? Yep. And I mean, granted, I don't know if the Lakers really have someone that can really go in and try to clamp them down. Maybe they try to put Bron on them. Caruso's a pretty good long defender, but I think us kind of seeing that maturation of Donovan Mitchell, and then they'll have Mike Conley. I think that's really going to help.
Definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. Just his like veteran presence.
Right.
Mitchell's another one, just like D-Book we were talking about. Like, man, after seeing him in the bubble last year, like I would love to see him go far, but I just don't know how much I believe in them offensively. Is Clarkson still playing?
And Clarkson's been putting in. He was going to win the 6th Man of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, so the crazy thing is let's say the Jazz get out of that first round, right? Let's say Lakers stay at 7 and they play Golden State. They get out of that first round. Their second round matchup is against potentially Denver or Dallas.
Yep.
Like, so do you think the Jazz can actually get to the conference finals out of that matchup? Or do you think like it'll be Denver or Dallas coming out of that?
Yeah, I think they can. And it's only because as long as they don't run it, the Clippers are the only team that I can definitively say if they're healthy would – I just think they're all around a better team than Utah, especially with the playoff experience that Utah lacks. But then same with the Lakers. If they were healthy, like I was saying all year, it'd be a different story. But like even if LA draws Utah, I don't think they've been so injury prone, and like they haven't had time to get their legs under them. Like I think Utah's got a really good path, to at least make the conference finals. But I
For
think
sure.
if the Clippers are healthy, that's a problem that they don't want. So I don't
Yeah.
know. They got good shooters. They got a good. That's what's so weird when I look at like the Lakers and how they won last year. That's the first time I've seen this is like a complete switch, but I've like LeBron has always been at his best when he's got shooters around him, and it just seems like they didn't have that last year, and they don't have that this year, man. Like they've got good mid-range shooters, but we're in a 3-point era now, and they're like really sketchy 3-point shoot. Like they can have good games, but they don't have like elite level 3-point shooting where they're putting up 20 plus 3-pointers a game. So that's
Yeah,
scary.
it is. That's the thing for me. It's like how are those other individuals going to produce when it comes to the playoff time?
Yep.
And so that's the thing for me where I'm a bit nervous. And plus, like losing someone like Rondo, I think can really have an effect.
Definitely.
On especially that that second thing, because you're pretty much betting on like Taylor Horton Tucker or whoever like to really run that secondary offense, and I don't know if I trust it enough, or Caruso to run like a backup. I just don't trust it enough to think that they're really going to be that successful at it.
I agree. I think Rondo's a huge boost for the Clippers' second team. Like that's enormous.
For sure.
Even the first team, when he's playing in those first team sets, he'll run that offense. Like
and then you think they finished the game with him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They pull Reggie, which they need to.
Yeah.
But you put him in there, you finish the game. So you think about you got Rondo, PG, and Kawhi. Like that's a hell of a defensive team. But then you just on offense, how well Rondo can run that offense and be able to get Paul and Kawhi in their spots.
Definitely.
Yep. And I think what's a low key pickup that I think is going to be huge for the Clippers outside of that Rondo pickup that they just did not too long ago was Cousins. Like them picking up Cousins, I think is smart. It's like that insurance policy, so that way if Ibaka doesn't come back, you still got a big that can go and body up with Drummond, and still get rebounds and stuff.
I agree, man. Who would have thought like? If you said at the end of last season, okay, the Clippers are going to lose Trez and Lou Will, you'd be like, wow, that's a fucking huge, chunk of their team. Like that was what made the Clippers so special last year, regardless of their perimeter D in their starting five, was how good their bench was. You had two players that could have won 6 men, and they both are gone and like they're still this good. It's pretty crazy, man. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's going to be the Clippers. So what about things in the East though?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of, when you came on, we were talking about Philly and stuff like that. Harden's back, right? Obviously, Kyrie missed that game, the Harden return, but it's just, if KD is there, I think if Kyrie or Harden, one of them's injured, I don't think that matters. I think they automatically make it to the finals. That's what I think. I think maybe if they get a hard finals matchup and they don't have one of them, they could lose. But I don't even think they need all three of them, bro. I think like if you got KD and then one of those other two, you're making it to the finals. They're just so fucking talented.
Yeah. I think so for sure. I think you're absolutely right, but I think it would be a much even easier for them if it's KD and James over KD and Kyrie. And the reason why I say that is just James' ability to run the offense and get other people involved compared to Kyrie. I think it'd be a little bit easier for him. But I mean, you act like you said, KD with either one of them.
Yeah, like after this season, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, right? I think the Nets are going to win it all. That's just my gut. But I don't like how we were just talking about how LeBron's ship has sailed in the media after this season, probably is the best player in the world. We can't deny Kevin Durant anymore. Like, he's just so elite. Like, I just look at, like, the elite players of this league, like the Kawhi Leonards and obviously LeBron and some of these other superstars, Joel. Kevin Durant is just, to me, so much farther above them. It's insane, I don't even know what to say anymore. Regardless of my personal feelings towards him, he's just so elite. He is, bro. Like I'm he's.
I don't fuck with him, but he's the best player.
Pretty much, bro. I'm not gonna use this platform to always shit on people, but like I've said it since the beginning. I always preface my gripes with Kevin Durant by saying I think he's the best player in the league. Like he's just so good, man. The efficiency. And he's good on D too, man. Since Golden State, he's been such an elite defender. Like
yeah. Like he's super solid. And I will say this though, let's say the crazy thing happens and they beat their first round matchup with the who was it? Let's say they go up against Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the crazy thing happens and the Sixers lose to Miami.
Okay.
Right? Let's just say that happens.
Yep.
And so then it's and say the Nets beat Milwaukee, like the Nets and the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that could be a really good. It's just very interesting.
I agree with you. Yeah,
because the way Jimmy is and how hard he goes, and I think the whole X factor. I think if that matchup was to happen, would be Bam.
Yeah, and they're an athletic team, right? And it seems like they've been coming. They had a really bad start, but they're kind of coming along. It would be, I don't know who. It's just when you look at Brooklyn, if all three of those dudes are healthy, it's just at that point, it's like
there's no chance.
Yeah, you just like you kind of go down the line, right? Like, okay, he's gonna guard him. So who would Jimmy guard? He'd probably guard Harden or Kyrie.
He'd have to guard. Yeah, he'd have to.
Who's guard?
But I think what they would do is I think they may mess around and be like, all right, well, look, we put Ariza. You put Jimmy on like Kyrie. You put Ariza on. You probably have to put Ariza on KD.
Mm-hmm.
And who's else? Like Kendrick Nunn, I think, is a starting point or whatever. And you probably put him on Kyrie, but then that's just barbecue chicken, as Shaq would say.
Right. I think your best bet to stopping KD is like not even having an elite defender on him, is having someone like that can bark at him, like someone like a Patrick Beverly or something, like not that size, but I just mean like someone that's like a 3 or a 4 that's like a scrapper that's gonna like talk shit to Kevin Durant and try to like. Cause I don't know what else you can do. There's no stopping Kevin Durant. You put an elite defender on him, I don't care. He's putting up 25 to 30. You know what I mean? So it's like
easy.
You need someone that's in his ear, like, "Hey, bitch, like you on Twitter tonight?" Like some stupid shit like that. Like I don't know what else you can do. Like I don't know.
You gotta try to. He may have a game where he put up like 20, and then people gonna be all in his face. He be like, "Look, I'm KD," and then the next game he gonna go off for like 45, right? Like, so out of everybody that's in the playoffs, right? Who do you think is gonna give them that toughest matchup? Is it Philly?
I would say Philly, and that's because we've said it all year. I know Blake's there now, but it's more about their down low presence. That's the only thing that's kind of a weakness, and like who's guarding Joel. So and Simmons, as even though he plays as a guard, he gets all his buckets in the paint. So it's almost like who's stopping them at the rack.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the Nets do have DeAndre, right? And I think that's why they have him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like every matchup is not a really good matchup for DeAndre to play, but like when they're playing Philly, that's why you have DeAndre Jordan there, right? Because he's a big body that can body up with Joel. He may not be able to move as well with Joel, but he's gonna body up with him at the very least, and he's a rim protector.
Definitely. And it's one of those things where it's like he would probably give DeAndre the business, but it would be something that would catch up with them. Maybe they could get a game or two out of that, but like Brooklyn's just gonna, eventually catch up with them and just, outscore them. On
the perimeter, they don't, because I would assume Ben would guard James, right? And then you put Tobias on KD, and you probably put like Steph on Kyrie, but even if you put Ben Simmons on James Harden, like I feel like James is going to still find a way to get at least like 10 free throws.
He will. But you know what's so weird? I don't know why this came to my mind, Mo, but like you look at like, what was it, 2 seasons ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. That team where Philly also had J.J. Redick and Jimmy Butler, that team could have made some noise against like a team like this. That would have been an extremely interesting matchup.
Yeah, but then Kawhi was like, hold on. Let me
That was
get to this corner. Let me get to this corner real quick.
Right. Was that on a dog-ass series?
That was a dog-ass series. And that shot, hold on. Have you seen the clip that ESPN posted on Instagram where Kawhi hits that shot and like a family, it's like a family that's somebody's recording in his family, and he hits the shot and everybody was like, oh my God.
No.
And they're like, and then the little boy's crying like, oh, like he's pissed, right? Like everybody is fucking pissed that Kawhi done shitted on him. Yep. It's hilarious, bro.
I mean, like, I think Joel started crying like right after that bucket went in. Like, I don't even blame him. I'm not gonna shit on him for that. Like, that was such a tough fought series, and to see like
it was a dog, like.
And it would almost be like if he swished that shot, it'd be like, all right. But like the way that shot went in, I'd just be like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like that's how that happened. That would suck, man. It was a game 7, right? Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
Was it a game 7 or was it game 6?
It was a game 7, I'm pretty sure. And then they went on to play Milwaukee in the conference finals. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Milwaukee won the first 2 and then they won the last 4. Yep, you're right.
What about Milwaukee though? What's like? I mean, do they have any factor?
See, to me, I think Milwaukee is the Nets' most formidable opponent when it comes to playoffs. Right? I think them because of Giannis and then the shooting that they have around them that they didn't necessarily really have last year, because the presence of Drew Holiday makes a huge difference. You saw the way that it affected Kyrie and his ability to really kind of do what he does in those matchups that they had, those back-to-back games that they had. But then also those games were so close and James Harden wasn't playing. Yep. Right. So, and we know James Harden makes a huge difference in that offense. But I don't think that takes away from the fact that Milwaukee, I think, is their toughest opponent when it comes to these playoffs, because KD has trouble guarding Giannis.
That's the thing. It's just Giannis on it by himself, regardless of what you want to say about him. If you wall him off, cool in the playoffs, but like he takes a lot out of you physically just to, have to deal with someone like that. Just that freak of nature athleticism, and he's always trying to get to the rim. That really takes a toll. And I never would have thought, because I was a big Bledsoe fan, but I agree, like Holiday has taken them to another level. I think like he's better suited for them. So
yeah, you're right.
Good shooters. They're a good team.
They are. They're a hell of a team. And then they just, I don't know if they're going to change their defense. And that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if Steve Nash was going to change up their defense from the first game to the second game when they had those back-to-backs. And I don't know if he has something kind of up his sleeve when it comes to the playoffs. Like, all right, if we get here, this is what we're going to do. Right. Yep. So I think, oftentimes coaches will kind of hold on to things like, okay, now I know what we can kind of do in this matchup. So it would be interesting to see if they make any changes. But I think the dark horse in the East has got to be Miami, because the way that Spoelstra can coach and change up those defenses and the pieces that they have can make things scary for some of these other teams.
Definitely. And like, especially with someone like Brooklyn, who like we're all saying is like the runaway to win it. They're just very athletic on the wing, and down low. Like, Bam is more of he doesn't have the height, but he's a very athletic, physical body. So yeah, they're a good team, man. It's it'll be interesting out there, even though I think the Nets are gonna win. There's some other intriguing teams. I just can't believe how Boston fell off this year, man. Like, as far as the record shows, because Jalen and Tatum have been playing great individually. You would have thought they would have took a step. Like, if you would have seen Jalen and Jason Tatum's stats, just those two things at the end, like right now, you would think they would have taken a step forward. Like it's crazy how they're not. They're on the brink of not even making it.
Yeah, I think one is just like defensively, they're just really not that good.
No.
Right. And then Kemba's been in and out and being inconsistent. Marcus Smart was out for a period of time. And I think really I'm going to put the blame on Danny Ainge. Like,
I do too.
They had a lot of pieces from Al Horford to Kyrie Irving to Gordon Hayward, and you lost all these pieces and didn't get anything for it.
No. And they still have all these draft picks and whatnot from the Brooklyn trade for KG and Paul Pierce back in the day, and like he never cashes it in for a big free agent. He's like, nope, I'm gonna hoard my draft pieces. It's like, bro, it's not working for you, man. And like I'm out on Kemba. Like I really liked him on Charlotte, and like since then I was like, I don't know. His shooting is so inconsistent. He's such an injury liability. It has nothing to do with him as a person. I just as a player, I'm out. I wouldn't want. The inconsistency is crazy. You'll see games where he'll go like 2 of 15. It's like, bro, what are you doing out there, man? Like I've seen you ball before. It's nuts. I don't know.
I think it's just the fact that he's having to defer. He spent his whole entire career in Charlotte. He didn't have to defer.
You're right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you're having to defer to guys that are better than you. And I think it's an adjustment period for him.
That was a weird time. Do you remember when like him and like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist were like the best players in the Hornets, and they were playing like Miami in the first round and shit like that? That's so wild.
Terrible. The team was terrible.
Yeah.
Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Cody Zeller. Like,
Cody Zeller and Batum. Batum was on that like $120 million contract.
Yeah. Come on, like what are we doing, bro?
Fucking Mike. Even Skip Bayless, who's the biggest like Michael Jordan fan ever, will be like he's the worst GM that's ever existed. And
they haven't. I think he's starting to. I think he got really lucky with Melo.
Yeah, they're looking good now.
And then you got Bridges. I think they got some really good young talent. They just got to find a way to get some. They got to either keep drafting right, and then hopefully they can get a big free agent here.
That's what's hard. It's funny you said that because I was just thinking it's so like it sucks for those markets, man. Like what big free agents like, yeah, I'm heading to Charlotte, motherfucker. Like that's where like
you gotta go. You got to get somebody that wants to go home.
Yeah, right.
Like that's from that area. Like if they were to probably get like a Chris Paul or something like that wants to go back home and play, or you know what I mean? I think that could help because I think Brandon Ingram's from that area. So if you can get a guy that's just like that wants to, or mess around and get like a Zion, he's from South Carolina. So if you can get a player that's like, look, I just want to go back home, then I can see that.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna need, man. So who we might as well do like run it down since the season's over. Who's your MVP? Are you going Jokic? Yeah, I got it. I mean, it was Embiid for so long, and then it's crazy how like Jokic just steadily like kept climbing and kind of turned the tide.
Even with Jamal going out too.
They're playing great, and I think because Jamal's out, that really shoots him in the foot for the playoffs. Like I think they could win a series, maybe two, but I don't see them going far. But as far as like a regular season, because it's a regular season award, I got to give it to the Joker, man. Like it's crazy. He's a great player. If Jamal can come back and be what we saw him in the bubble last year and be like a consistent, like perennial all-star type point guard like that, he doesn't have to drop 50 every night, but like if he can give him 20 a night and be like a very good scorer. And if what's the other Michael Carter? If he continues, Porter Jr. Yep. If he continues to develop, they could be very scary here in the future. Like a top 5 team for sure.
They can be really, really scary. But yeah, Jokic MVP.
I gotta go Julius Randle for most improved player, man. Like the dude,
hands down.
Like I don't even. Yeah, he better win that unanimously because like the dude's been killing it, and like his stats alone could warrant it, but just the effect that it's had on their record and how good they're playing. Are they the 5th seed now? I don't know if they're still 4th. They're
the 5th seed. Or no, actually, no. What? No, I think they fell to the 6th. Because Miami owns the tiebreaker over them.
Gotcha. Yeah, but
I mean, but he has to. He has to. And if he doesn't make first team All NBA, he for sure has to make second team.
Definitely, that's where I put him for sure. Like if he's not, he's got to be second team at least. If I wouldn't argue with him as first team, but like if you don't have him as second team, that's a robbery. Like it
is.
Oh man, he's playing great. I never would have thought. Who thought New York would be anywhere this year,
bro? Exactly. I mean, they literally have the same record as the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. Freaking crazy, bro. I'm trying to think what else. Who would you say is the defensive player of the year?
It probably gonna be Gobert. I mean, he's anchoring probably one of the best defensive teams in the league. But I mean, there's something to be said for Ben and what he's been able to do.
I was going to say Ben Simmons, man. Like, and I know, like, whatever months ago I said whatever about him being, but like, it's nothing that I don't think he's a bad player at all. When I said he was a bust, I just meant for like the hype that was surrounding him when he got drafted,
sure.
But like, he is, as far as like an all-around defensive player, he's got to be top 5 when it comes to a perimeter defensive player who can guard you from fucking baseline to baseline and then guard 1 through 5. The dude he's great.
So I got something for you. Okay. Does Ben Simmons right now, as far as defensively, remind you of a young Dennis Rodman?
A little bit, just the way he's like a pogo stick, the way he rebounds that ball, man. Like he's he on ball, he will really he disrupts. It's not like he just stays in front of you. He's swiping at you. Like he'll make people pick up their dribbles. Like it's crazy.
He definitely gives me Dennis Rodman with like the Pistons vibes, bro. Like he just like defensively, he is all over the place. I think he's top 5 in steals.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, guarding 1 through 5 and guarding 1 through 5 easily
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Like it would just come down to the tenacity, and I don't know if that was more of like that generation they had to be like that, but he definitely doesn't have Dennis Rodman's demeanor. But if he could get there, which I don't know if that's just something that can happen. I don't know if like you have to be born with that or
it's not in him.
Yeah, because he just seems like, and I think that's indicative of the league that we're in now, and the players, they're just generally not dogs like that as much anymore. But man, if he had that type of drive and that type of dog, he'd be fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, he would. Who you got for rookie?
Even though he was injured, like LaMelo, just from like the little body of work that I saw him do, I don't think there was a rookie that was better than him. So I'm gonna say.
Anthony Edwards came on hard.
Yeah, definitely, and I really respect him.
Yeah, like dude came on hard. I think for the last couple of months he was putting up like 22 a game, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't ignore those first 3 months, and even this last this last month he's been balling. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. Like I already think he's better than Lonzo.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, like
you're not wrong. Like,
Lonzo,
don't hesitate on that. You're not wrong.
Man.
He is.
Like
he
even
is
as a passer,
better.
like you look at people's argument is Lonzo, he's got a good, like I've seen LaMelo throw passes where I'm like, bro, man, like you've got that same vision.
That underhand pass that he threw to Miles
Bridges, that little scoop pass.
It was insane, bro.
Bro, yeah,
he is already better than Zoe.
Yeah, for sure.
All around.
Man,
I would say the only thing he's not better than Zoe because Zoe, I think, is an underrated defender.
He's really good on ball, definitely.
You know what I mean? So I think LaMelo has work to do there, but offensively,
I was about to say, you're right. Every facet of like an offense, he's better, definitely, even passing. But defensively, I'll give Zoe that, man. Like I think he's like right up there, like an 8 out of 10, like on ball defender. He's very good, but.
Yeah,
Zoe just plays timid though. I think Zoe is his own worst enemy. I think because there's games. I remember his. I don't know. I saw him his first rookie year. Like there was games he dropped 30, and it was like, all right, but it was the inconsistency. There's other games where he shoots 1 for 9. It's like, bro, what are you doing out there, man? Like I don't know.
Yeah. He's so reserved and laid back where. Like Melo steps on the court and it was like somebody about to catch this work.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So, but I think the race that's going to be the most competitive, I think this year is actually the coach of the year.
Yeah, because there's so many different arguments you can make, right? I mean,
for me, there's 3 players, there's 3 coaches, right? So Thibodeau, Monty Williams, and Quinn Snyder. I think all of them deserve some type of praise.
Definitely.
I feel like you have to give it to Tibbs.
I wouldn't argue that, but you're not even forgetting, like, even though he had all this talent, like Steve Nash has got to be in that conversation too, man. It's like
you're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. All the shit that he had to deal with.
That's tough.
Like, and then you think how many did I think they said they had the second most different lineups.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
The Nets did.
Those big 3 have only played like 7 games together out of all the time that they've actually been on the franchise. I think. If I had to give it based on like what I think is deserved of coach of the year, I'd give it to Quinn Snyder, just being that they made it to that 1 seed. They're such a good defensive team, and they've been so consistent from game 1 to now. Like they're just such a great team. But like I can't argue with Tibbs either, being that like New York was nothing, and now it's
like no one expected the Knicks to even be
exactly
like at best they probably would have gotten a play-in, right? Like that's the best anybody thought the Knicks would have got, especially with the players that they have.
Yep.
But like the way Julius Randle is playing, Derrick Rose is coming. Derrick Rose over here playing like I think y'all forgot that I was an MVP once upon a time. Like he's been
Most definitely.
balling, and then like even with the Suns, nobody. There was no one that would have said that. Like, oh yeah, the Suns about to be in second place in the league in the West.
No, not at all. If you told me at the beginning of the season, I'm trying to think, you probably have both LA teams. I'm trying to think who else you'd have up there. Probably Denver after how they played last year.
I think Portland, Utah, like
Portland's crazy, bro. Like every year they do this, and then you're like they'll probably take that step next year, and the next year they're still like a fucking fighting for the bottom of the West. I don't understand.
So I messaged you this.
Yep.
And I don't know how you feel about this, but I got to put this out in the world. Portland needs to find a way to make a trade, send CJ Cullum to Boston and get Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. I mean, that would be that specifically. Like we'd have to we can dive deep in it, but I just think the premise of what you just said, you got to break those two up, man. Like, and I love it's not either one of them. It's just that Dame is clearly your guy. He's your franchise guy. CJ, I respect the shit out of him, but like I just said, they're never making that next step forward. They just continue to hover right there at like 6th to 8th seed. It's like you need to get rid of them, man.
Yeah. Well, one is just they're a really short backcourt. They both struggle defensively, right? So it's like, why not, like you said with Danny Ainge, make that trade. One, Portland, you're getting a better defender and a younger player that once Dame is starting to get to that point, you have somebody that you can transition to, right? And then in Boston, you're giving somebody that can really help Tatum come along, who can still go get a bucket, right? And it's probably going to be coming off of a contract that's going to be coming off here soon. So it's like that to me, I think would make sense on both ends.
I totally agree. Like that would be very intriguing. Even though I think CJ is a better scorer, Jalen's so much better defensively. He's more athletic. They just need a switch. Like they need to figure something out with CJ. I don't know what his worth is on the trade market, but it's just like we were just saying again. They just don't. They continually at the end of every season, it's like okay, they look good, and next season they'll probably be a little better, and they don't ever seem like they're a little better. It seems like they've been hovering around that same spot for the last like 4 years.
They don't play defense, bro.
No, they don't.
They do not play defense.
You're totally right. That's what's crazy though, is you look at teams like Washington, who at the beginning, like they don't play defense either. And at the beginning of the season, they were so bad, and now they're fighting for like a play-in spot. It's like wow, like some team, like they just make these crazy turnarounds. Yeah. Or is Washington still right there fighting for that 10th spot?
Washington's in the 10th spot. They're 2 games up, so on Chicago. So we'll see what happens there, but
that's an interesting 10 seed. Like I would hope that they like win their play-in games and like make it in, because like Washington, even though I know they're not even going to win probably a first round matchup, like they're just a fun team to watch with Bradley Beal, and obviously Russ is so electric. Like they're going to give teams problems, so it'd be fun to see them fight it out with someone for 5 or 6 games. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah. Like that matchup with like them and the Sixers, I would love to see that, because you already know like Russ and Embiid kind of got like a little bit like a history, right? It's just like not really I'm really fucking with one another. So like I would just love to see that. And then Bradley Beal, I just need to see him back in the playoffs.
I know, I love Bradley Beal. What do you think about this talk? I saw this on sports media or sports talk debate shows. Everyone's saying like because he's about to win another triple double, or he's going to average another triple double for the season, people are like assessing where Russ is all time. And I'm seeing some people say he's like a top 3 point guard of all time. What's your take on that?
I can't.
I don't either.
I cannot do that. No.
I respect Russ's athleticism and his tenacity and his competitive nature, but I've said this to everyone forever. I just do not think his style is conducive to winning basketball. Like that's just
so you put him in a type 3, like who are you putting him above?
I'm not even putting him above Chris Paul, bro. Like I'm serious.
Right. You like there. I think there's automatically 3 players that you're like he's not going above, right? Magic, John Stockton, and Chris Paul.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like those are like automatic locks, right? But then you start to look like, is he better than Isaiah Thomas?
I would have to say no just because of the championships, but it's like some people might argue like no, you look at because that's the thing. People will probably argue your Stockton point there. I personally agree with you. There's no way I'm putting him above John Stockton because of the success they had winning and going into the playoffs. His ability to pass the bat. I just love smart basketball, and that's what John Stockton played. But some people would argue maybe like the one-on-one factor, like Russ clearly is a better, like if you put them up against each other, like Russ would smoke John Stockton, but it's like, it's not a one-on-one game. It's a
One
team.
game. It's
Yeah.
not right. Like I would be, it would even be a debate. Like you looking at even like Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, like there's,
Yeah. I can't.
There's no way I'm putting them in top three. There's no way. I could,
or even Steph. We didn't even say Steph. Steph's like,
yeah,
he's
like
not better
right.
than Steph.
No,
You know?
no. Like you look at him with, you even match him up with like Kyrie.
Hey, like okay. Like we already know my feelings about Kyrie. I think he's one of the most talented players ever. But like, if you want to talk about historical, just because of his stats, he'd probably be better. But like, if I'm a GM right now, I'm taking Dame Lillard before I'm taking Russell Westbrook. I'm sorry, like I am. Like if I'm building a team, again, I don't think Russ's style is conducive to winning. Like he's such a fiery competitor, and he reminds me of D Rose, the way he just explodes to the basket, that athleticism when D Rose was healthy. But you'll just see him make plays down the stretch where it's like, Russ, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like what was that? Like, you know, and it's just that shit drives me crazy.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is that like, you know that Russ, I think, leads the league in clutch points.
Really? That's actually kind of shocking to me.
But to me, it's not, because like he has a ball consistently in his hands.
What's considered a clutch point? Like, is it a certain?
I think it's like points within like the last. I think it's either 2 minutes or the last 4 minutes of a game.
Okay. His usage rate is so high. I mean, it's he's
right. So that's the thing. It's like, who else is going to score this ball on Washington's team?
Yep. And that's the thing. Like Bradley could be cooking, and when Russ has the ball, it doesn't matter who. We saw it when he was with KD. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Like I've got the ball. Like I'm gonna fucking go to the rim. Like Russ wants to be that guy.
But we can't sleep. I mean, you got to show respect to the fact that he was just able to do what he's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 of the last 4 years, he's averaged a triple-double. And that's insane stats, bro.
Yeah.
It's insane stats. But the thing is that he's doing it on teams that are just not competitive.
Exactly. Yep. And it all started because his first one was the year after KD left, right?
Right.
So it's like, and I don't know if since KD left, he's never really been on a team. There were teams you could argue like they'd be a middle of the pack playoff team, but since KD left, he was never on a team that was like, they could win a championship. So it kind of like opened him up to do something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I respect him. Anyone that has that kind of competitive fire, I can't hate on, and like he's just such a great, individual athlete. But again, for me, it's about smart, and that's across the board, any sport. Obviously, boxing is my favorite sport, but I love NBA, I love NFL, I love smart players, man. And like, there's players you watch, and you're like, you don't play smart ball, man. Like you just, you turn the ball over, you're this, you're that, and he's very erratic. Like it's just, all over the place, and it's hard to watch sometimes. It's like, oh,
for sure,
I don't like it.
So we got to talk about this Hall of Fame enshrinement.
Yeah, some emotional stuff's coming up tomorrow, man. It
is. But I mean, like, so as far as like enshrinement classes, where would you rank this class?
This is right up there, bro. I mean, is Tim Duncan in here too, or no?
Tim Duncan, KG, Rudy Tomjanovich, Tamika Catchings, like
Kobe. I don't know. Like, it's right up there. It's crazy, man. I know you're a big KG fan. Do they know who's inducting him?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's been selected who's inducting him.
Well, I'm glad that it's his year, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I know we've talked about it on the pod because you're such a big fan, but like, I swear people have just forgotten Kevin Garnett even existed. And like, when I see him sometimes, I'm like, bro, I miss watching the big ticket, man. Like, he was so intense, and he was awesome.
There was literally, I was looking at, there was an article, and you just really, he literally came in and was one of a kind. You never really truly saw somebody at his age, at his stature, and be able to do the things that he did. It was insane. It was just crazy.
It was, man. Yeah, it's even before, he went to Boston, he had more team success, but like, yeah, he was just a freak when he played for Minnesota. Like, it was just who could guard him. He was so lengthy. He'd block shots. Just seeing him, he'd take that one step in from the free throw line, or like two steps after the 3-point line, and just dunk on people with one hand. It was like, oh my Lord, man.
He was, I think it was his first 5 years in the league. I think he was one of only a couple of players, or he may have been the only player to where his first 5 years in the league, he was able to increase both his, no, I think it was all three, his scoring, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And he was a gym rat. Like, he was, he always was trying to self-improve, which is awesome. He's one of those guys, it's just his mindset I was so attracted to. He was just, all about bettering himself as a player. And such a good locker room dude. Like, he's very intense, and some people might not take it right, but holy shit, that dude, he'd fire you up.
So, I was over here talking about he calling people cancer patients.
Forgot about that, bro.
Oh my man, KG forever. There's nothing that's gonna change. KG is gonna forever be my dude.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. I just remember watching him so young. I remember I used to live with my grandparents for a couple of years, and I remember my grandpa, whenever he come on, this is so mean. My grandpa would always say, "It looks like someone beat him with an ugly stick." He was like, "He's the ugliest dude ever," and I was like, "Bro, that's Kevin Garnett, man. What are you talking about?" But he was like, "Yeah, I never say it to him." But
yeah, you definitely not gonna say it to him. What's their problem? Oh, man. But man, like KG, I mean, just that Tim Duncan, bro. Like,
wait, yeah, okay. Tim Duncan, that makes sense. I thought you were about to say like Dirk and Wade. I was like, they're not. They have a couple years left, right? They got 2 years.
Like 2 more years. Yeah. But just those dudes, bro. I
mean, Tim Duncan is. I think people towards the end, he got a little boring and old, but like he's one of the most accomplished players ever. Like, you forget him. He's just such a winning player. He won 5 rings with one team. That's insane.
Like Tim, two MVPs back to back. Like
Tim, his early years with the Admiral, he was just he was like a 20 and 18 guy. Like those
dogs. Like people, I think Tim Duncan is probably one of the more underrated players in the league that you never really consider him a superstar, just because he was so quiet about it.
Right, exactly. But like, honestly, I swear, if someone wanted to argue that he's a top 5 player of all time, like I'm not gonna fucking argue with you about that. Like
I don't think people would. You look at the production, bro.
Exactly, in the 5 rings. I mean, I can't argue with you about. And I love that at the end of his career, it was cool watching him transition to center and still win another ring like that. Obviously, he wasn't the same player that last year, but it was like he just did whatever his team needed him to do to win. And then he continued to be that rebounder and shot blocking presence and leader.
Dude, like KG really, like him, those matchups I used to love between him and KG, bro. Like just them going at it and how, like, just man. But you think about this class and like those 3 specifically and how they, how when they were at the height of like the work ethic, that I think that's the thing that you would really remember about them, is like they were true, like just basketball savants. They loved the game and they put so much into the game.
Yep. I totally agree, man. It's just so respect. Whether you were a fan or not, both those guys, it's just like you got to just respect their mindset and the way that they led their team. It's crazy. I think the big story is Kobe, though, man. Like that's gonna be.
Oh, for sure.
Oh man, I don't know if I can watch that. Like I don't know when it comes on, but like yeah, I'm probably gonna get pretty
something like that.
Yeah, I'll be pretty emotional watching that. That's gonna be crazy.
It is.
What's more fitting though than MJ inducting him? It's like Kobe literally just modeled his whole game after that man.
It's only right, bro. It's only right that it would be MJ, right? I mean, literally, I think when they had the whole service at the Staples Center, it was his little brother.
Yeah, it's so funny hearing the stories too, because it seemed like for a long time he really resisted that and thought Kobe was just like a pest. He was annoyed by him, and then like eventually he finally just broke through to him and they became close. Because like I didn't even know they were that close until after he passed. You know, I didn't realize that it's Kobe just touched so many people, and he was the closest thing to MJ that I don't think anyone will ever be that close to Michael Jordan again. That's
no, you're not. You know, it's just from a game perspective and the star quality and everything. Like,
yeah, and just everything. He literally tried to become like a carbon copy of what Michael Jordan was. His moves, that post fade away, the tongue out, everything about it. It was just that was his idol. It's only right that he's doing it. And Kobe came damn close to being MJ, man. He was right there. Like
he definitely did. It's going to definitely be emotional just because of what he meant to the game and what he brought to the game, and for it to happen at such a young age.
Definitely, man. It's one of the all-time greats, and people always want to debate. And I think people have that attachment to Kobe because some people consider him the GOAT, and like Ricari, our boy that we used to work with at Champs, who does the Hot Takes podcast, he always argues with me that Kobe had the hardest competition out of Jordan and LeBron. And I'm like, I can't argue with you, man. Like he definitely had some battles he had to go through to win.
He had some battles, but not in the finals. But
no, I agree with you. And also his first three were with Shaq when they were just running through everyone. But like, I get what he's saying. The totality of his career.
Yeah. I mean, the confidence, because you got that transition from, Mike dominating, and then for a minute it was really Shaq's league for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
It should have been longer. If Shaq took care of himself and wanted to be greater, that's what's so interesting about Shaq, man. It's like he did all of that without giving a fuck. Like that dude ate like shit. He didn't work out. Like it was like.
Did you hear what he did? Okay, so it was on NBA TV, and they asked him like, okay, when you were in your championships, like how much did you weigh?
Like, bro, he like over 300 easy.
315, 325. He was like, but that was muscle. Like, you a damn right. I want no muscle, bro. You was like it eventually got there once you got your ass in shape, but bro.
Yep. I don't understand, man.
Just dominating dudes, bro. Like Shaq probably may be one of the toughest guys to really fully like rank, right? Because it's like his dominance was just insane.
Yep. Right up there with Jordan and like Kareem and stuff like that. As far as
like
dominance.
It was really just insane. And like if he would have just gave a bit more, like there's no way you couldn't put him in I think right now you still have a discussion for him to be in the top 5, but like you could have a discussion that he'd probably go down as one of the greatest centers ever.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's hard to kind of put him over Kareem, but you put him at like a 2. But I think because of like just the work ethic that Shaq kind of had, you kind of like you start to put in like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. It's like you start to put these other guys up there.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously Hakeem, I think that's the biggest argument. Like I can't argue with Kareem being the best center, but like Hakeem and Shaq, I'd put that right there as 2. Again, I think the historical factor is what puts Russell and Wilt up there, but like I don't see them touching Shaq. Shaq was just a force of nature. And without caring, like we were just saying, like he literally didn't give a fuck. He was rapping, he was doing movies, like he didn't care at all. Like seriously, bro. Like I'm pretty sure as soon as he landed in LA, he like signed a record deal. It was like, dude, what the hell, man? Like he was
over here.
He was just clowning on people, man. Fuck, Shaq. And but with that being said, bringing that full circle to Kobe, I totally get at like now when people understand like what Kobe was, like that mindset of that winning mentality and like putting in that work, getting up at 3 a.m. every day and putting up shit. Like I totally get how that probably just fucking drove him crazy looking at Shaq. Like, like what are you doing, big man? If he would have put that work in, they would have stayed together. They could have won 5 chips in a row, like easily, man. Like that's, it's crazy.
That team was crazy, bro. It was, but then they ran to that good old team for the Motor City.
Yes, sir.
And that was like, yeah, we'll go ahead and end y'all. We'll
Yup.
end we'll end this now. It's okay.
That
We'll put this to sleep.
like they were like the new bad boys. Do you remember what that series went? I'm sure the Lakers won some games, didn't they?
It went 5.
That's crazy, man. Like, how is that possible?
They just had a bunch of old, like they had Karl Malone and Gary, like they just had a bunch of old heads that was just like, brother, and like this ain't it.
Yeah, they're like, all right.
This ain't it, bro. This ain't it. And like the game, it probably shouldn't even win 5. It could really, real talk, probably could have went 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, it went 5.
Like the Mavericks when they beat the Heat. That's just one of those crazy upsets where you just look at it and it's like, wow, you guys just played really good team basketball to beat this star-studded team, man. That's fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that, man. I remember going to the Pistons games back in the day when we had those players like Tayshaun and Rip and Chauncey.
Dallas was packed, bro. Dallas was packed.
Yeah. We got to get back to that at some point. I feel like that's always got to be Detroit's identity. We need to again go for like these skill players that are just dogs on defense. Like that's always been Detroit's identity when they win. Just this defensive minded, hard nosed team.
And I think one of the things about that team is that like people don't understand like that team was loaded.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like even out of your starters, you had a bench that was just.
Oh yeah, Lindsey
nice.
Hunter was pretty good. Like that. I'm trying to think who else we had coming off the bench.
Mehmet Okor.
Yep.
What was it? Eldon Campbell, Antonio McDyess.
McDyess was there. We had the star-studded rookie Darko Milicic, man. Wait, whoa. But jokes aside, can you imagine if they would have drafted anyone else other than Darko? Holy shit.
Bruh.
We could have had Melo, could have had D Wade, Chris Bosh.
Like I feel like that's why we struggling right now. It's the curse of Darko. Like
didn't he win a ring? Where did he go when he won a ring? Was it the Celtics? I'm pretty sure like out of all those big players.
Bro, there's no way he won a ring.
I promise you he's got one. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm pretty sure out of all those like top players, Melo's the only one that is not.
There's no way he has a ring, bro.
I think he went to I promise you. Let's look it up right now.
Bro,
he won, dude. Yeah, he won that year. He won a ring with Detroit. He got drafted that year.
I mean, but do that count?
I'm just saying, isn't that crazy? That dude's got a ring.
Like that shit don't count. Man. That's like giving like the people that handle equipment. Like they earned it more than he did.
Duh. I don't know why I even had to look that up. Yeah, it was that year that they won the fucking championship. It's fucking crazy.
It was trash, bro. Like last I checked, when he trying to do like MMA or something, like bro.
Yeah, and he got knocked out in the first round and fucking retired from that. Fucking Darko. It's crazy. I used to watch I was like a huge LeBron fan, obviously growing up, and like I used to watch his high school games. He had that one game in high school against what was that really good Hill Academy? Is that what they were called? They played them
they went up against Melo.
Yeah, so they were playing them on national TV, and Bron was just studding. And like they were asking Dick Vitale, like, do you think he's going to go number 1 overall? And he was like, he should, but there's this one really good player out of Europe, Darko Milicic, that could possibly challenge him as like the number 1 overall pick. And it's just so funny listening to that now. It's like, man, how high were people on this dude Darko? That
matured really well. That matured really well.
Yeah, that didn't age good
at all. At all,
man. What were people seeing, man? He must have been a stud wherever he was playing in Europe. I can't imagine. That's nuts.
Yeah. So we gotta end this on with talking about this boxing situation. We got 2 things going on. It looks like Anthony, Joshua, and
Saudi Arabia.
Fury look like they finally got everything in order.
Let's go, man. It's about time, bro. It's I don't know. I don't know if I sent it to you, but I was just listening to an interview with Tyson Fury with what's the dude's name? He's Joshua's promoter, because they were having an interview together because they were just there for that Canelo fight with Billy Joe. But Tyson got me so pumped up. I love that dude, man. Just his personality, because he was just saying like, he's like, yeah, Anthony Joshua's a prize fighter. That's the difference between me and obviously in his crazy European English accent, but he was like, I'm a Spartan. I don't give a fuck about the money. Like, he's like, I'm here to fight. I'm here to fucking knock people out. He was getting so intense. And I was like, man, this is going to be such a good fight, because Joshua's won my respect in some fights. I think he's a very technically sound fighter, but I'm just such a big Tyson Fury fan. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Can we stop that? Like, I need Tyson Fury to stop acting like you are not that guy. Like, you over here just clapping
Yeah.
folks like that. Like, you're a
No,
good
he's
boxer,
not.
but you are not Wilder where you're
He's not.
clapping folks and putting them out. So it's
He's
like
not.
I appreciate him building it up like that, but you not that type.
You know what it is though, and it's I forgot who pointed this out, but it's very like Ali-esque because Ali wasn't that guy either, but he was the same type of trash talker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like shit on everyone. Was like, I'm gonna knock you out. He said that to absolutely everybody. You know, so he's very much like that. Just like so much charisma and swag. Like he just doesn't give a fuck.
And I appreciate it. I truly appreciate like him building up that fight. But
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
You're
with
not
you.
that guy. Stop it. Stop it.
He's very reminiscent of Ali, man. Just the way they fight, you know.
He is.
Such good boxers. It's crazy.
Skill.
Yeah. And like will knock someone out when they get, like he just
you fuck around.
Yeah.
You can catch one.
Because it's those punches you don't see. Yeah. It's those punches you don't see that fucking get to you, bro. You know, so
like for him to be as big, he has some quick ass hands, bro.
Man, it's crazy. And they're clubs. Like it seems like he hits them like on the inside. Like he's just like, you know what I mean? Like he's just fucking bar fighting these dudes. It's crazy.
Yeah. So then okay, so I know you don't like to talk about him, but like this whole Logan Paul and Floyd thing,
June whatever,
and then the melee that just kind of happened. With
man.
Jake and Floyd and them, like that whole situation. Like, so I got to get your thoughts on that.
I don't know if that's just Mayweather trying to build the fight with Jake Paul taking his hat and all that shit. I don't know, man. The fight is still so weird to me. Like it's just crazy to me that like Floyd is giving these dudes. When we had the boy Javon on here, like our first guest, shout out to Javon, he said it best. Like, why are we letting these dudes in the culture, man? Like, I just don't get. From Floyd's point of view, like you were saying, it's about the money. It's all it is to Floyd. He's like, I'm gonna get an easy $100 million. But god damn, man, these fucking dudes. I don't get it. It's and that's the thing. They keep taking these fights where it doesn't prove anything. Like I think the rest of the world will go fucking nuts if Logan Paul beat Floyd Mayweather or knocks out Floyd Mayweather. But like even if by the shred of a possibility that happens, it's like, all right, Logan, let's fight a fucking active boxer that's your size, and then you can call yourself a fucking boxer, bro. Like, again, this dude's 50 pounds lighter than you. He's 43 years old. Like, you guys keep doing these little loophole things. Like, I don't...
Like, what Floyd is like, what, 5'7", 5'8"?
Yeah. 150 pounds soaking wet. Like,
right, and Jake is like 6'2"?
Mm-hmm. Big boy.
Like, you...
I don't get it. I do get it, actually. It makes sense. Like, they know that these fights generate a lot of money and they're making money.
It's a bag.
So maybe that's their whole, they're smarter than I'm. Like, they're doing exactly I'm giving them exactly the reaction they want, maybe. And, like, they know that they're not able to actually compete with real boxers. They just say that to really rile people up, but it just bothers the shit out of me, man. It's like, if you take the sport serious and, like, you want to do it, like, okay, but I just want to see. Yeah, I want to see like fight like that. That'd be cool. Like, okay, like if you're gonna actually do it, I'll watch you. But I don't know. I'll probably watch the fight because it's just it'll be interesting.
Entertainment.
But I don't know, man. I don't see. I feel like there's no way that Logan could, hit Floyd. It's just that size difference that makes it interesting.
Yeah, I just don't. Floyd, even at his age, though, like we still know that he's still very skilled.
Yeah, there's no way he's not, because I feel like he's always in the gym. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. There's like Floyd, that's all he knows is working out.
Right, you know what I mean. And so, like, there's nothing that Logan is gonna be able to like throw at him, except for just putting his weight on him and everything. That's gonna really affect Floyd all that much. Mm-hmm. And we have to remember, like, this is an exhibition. That's not a real. It's not a real fight. So.
No, exactly. Yeah, I don't know, man. Did you see Canelo crack Billy Joe and break his fucking orbital bone?
Man, that uppercut was nasty. Like that uppercut. I was like, I jumped back like, dang, like he. Yeah. And the thing was, it was perfect because he was already kind of coming down too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was the thing is if you watch the fight, Billy Joe was doing that a lot. He'd throw a punch and then he'd make that lean over to his right side. Mm-hmm. And I think Canelo's just a tactician. He's the new Floyd is basically what I think of Canelo is like, he's that new, since Floyd's came out, just this force of like you can't hit him. He's so good defensively, but he's just calculating everything you do, and he just knew, like, okay, Billy's gonna lean to that right, and I'm just gonna fucking crack him. And
he dotted his ass.
Yeah, that was nuts, bro. And I've fucking criticized Canelo for a long time, but Billy Joe's a really good fighter. He was undefeated and he was a champion. So, like, I got to take my hat off to that. It's just going to be interesting to see where Canelo goes from here. Like I said, I think from now on, it's like, I can't see, like, I don't want to see anything you do unless it's against a championship fighter. And it's, it's a big fucking fight because it's like you're the pound for pound king. Everything you do from here on out should just be championship fights. So, man.
Does him and Bud go at it?
Yeah, that'd be interesting, right? I'd think Bud have to go up a little bit in weight. It's just when you watch Canelo, though, it's like, can people hit this guy? Like, he is so, like, man, his head movement is just on another level. The dude is, and I heard Joe Rogan talking about it on his podcast, and it's so true. It's like, he seems like he's getting better every fight. Like, it's like he's still not, like, he's not plateauing. He's continuing to, every fight, he's a better version of himself.
And
so,
I mean, Canelo, how old is he?
I think he's early 30s. Pretty sure.
Well, they're like 32. I think.
Yeah.
Like, so he's really not still even that old.
Yeah. I don't see. It would just be, the fight would have to be made for me to really analyze it, but there's no one I can really see putting him up against right now where I wouldn't think that Canelo's going to win. He's so skilled, fucking crazy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that heavyweight unification fight. That's going to be where we really,
we need it.
We do.
We need it. We need another good heavyweight fight.
Mm-hmm. Because those
just need it.
The Fury Wilder fights were very good, so we need another one. Mm-hmm. And then I wonder what's going to happen after that. The winner of that, I think they have a rematch clause, but after that, will Wilder be back in the picture? Will it be Andy Ruiz?
He's been so ghost. We need to see him in a fight.
Yeah, we do.
He goes back up.
Definitely, yeah. He's been on the pads. You should go look him up on his Instagram. He's been.
I'll look it up.
He's got a new trainer. Looks like he's working on his foot movement and his combinations, like actual boxing, and not just worried about that right hand, which is good. He needs that. So, footwork needs a lot of work, man. He was very flat-footed and just kind of standing there waiting for someone to make a mistake. And if he could get that, that next part to his fight or his game where he can, move his feet and really, counter punch and stuff like that, then he could be dangerous because that right hand is nothing to play around with. So
lethal.
Yeah,
it's lethal
for sure. All right, man.